Hi, welcome to the world of Naadi Astrology. My name is Dr. Naadi-srinivasan, Shastri. Today we are going to discuss about Saturn in different houses from Jupiter. See, so many people in my videos, after seeing the videos or watching the videos, they have given comments stating that why are you using Aries as the Lagna? For your kind information, I am telling you all repeatedly, Aries is not the Lagna. I have placed Jupiter in Aries because I want to have a center point to travel or to take Saturn in different houses. So the center point is Aries. From Aries I am taking it to different houses or different rasis. So now we are concentrating on the subject where it tells us or where the planet signifies or gives different signification when it is placed in different houses from Jupiter. Earlier I have discussed about Saturn. What all Saturn gives us. Saturn tells us about profession. Saturn tells us about activities. Even going to the market, going to the purchasing, going to do shopping, whatever it is, Saturn does it. Okay? And about obstacles in life. And also about death. All these things are given by Saturn. Saturn is the significator of all these things. Okay? Right now I am just giving you all how far from Jupiter, in which house from Jupiter if it is placed, what will be the result. What it is going to give us. Apart from the regular significations, it will give us, it will tell us about something else also. This is what I am concentrating. So if you want to know about different lagnas, you have to see into the rasis. Significations of rasis also I have completed. If you want it once more, you can just put it in the comments, I can repeat it, I can do it, that is not a problem. But don't get confused whenever I write Jupiter in Aries. No, here also, people see Jupiter in Aries Lagna. They have asked me, why do you use only Aries Lagna? Why don't you use Taurus Lagna? It is not Lagna, I am not bothered about Lagna at all. I am bothered about only Jupiter, where I can place the Jupiter, and from Jupiter in which house, what happens to that planet or what that planet is going to signify us. This is the main theory of the subject. Okay? I hope it's clear now. So let us continue with Saturn. The first thing, Saturn with Jupiter. I told you Saturn is nothing but obstacles, problems, hurdles. When Saturn stays with Jupiter, that person, he or she, will have a lot of troubles in the early stages of his or her life. And don't ask me, no, it was not like that in my life. Except if you have a benefic planet aspect on the Jupiter, the problems definitely will be there for that person who is having Saturn with him, with Jupiter. Okay, so a lot of hurdles, a lot of problems, all the first 12 years will be there, till 12 years period. Of course, there will be a gap here and there whenever Venus, whenever Moon, whenever Sun comes in between, when they travel, 12 years, each year he will be traveling into transiting Jupiter and talking. Each year, the transiting Jupiter, when it touches the natal planets, it will definitely give you a little relief. But struggle will be there a lot in the early stages of the childhood days of this Jupiter, childhood days of the native, he or she. Fine? This is about Jupiter with, Saturn with Jupiter. Now next, Saturn in the second house from Jupiter. When you place Saturn, here also, please kindly note that this is not Lagna. This is only Aries. It is a Rasi. Treat it as a Rasi. Because diamond charts are are given this way, and from there only they start the Lagna. I can place anywhere. Even if I place somewhere, I have to notify what this Rashi is. That's the reason I have put this Rasi as or sign as Aries, Mesham. It is not Lagna. Same thing I have done here. Okay? Clear? So Saturn in the second house. What is Saturn? What is second house? Kutumbasthana. Saturn in the second house. Be sure Saturn with Jupiter will let the native, he or she, marry a known person. This is totally different from Saturn significations, but this is fact. Once again I will repeat. Saturn with Jupiter in any sign, any Rasi, or Saturn in the 7th house aspecting Jupiter, they will marry a known person. It may be a relative, it may be a known person, known from the childhood days. Clear? So when Saturn sits in the 2nd house, it will be 100% a love marriage, their own decision. The native will take the decision about her or his marriage, and they will get married. Different caste, different creed, different sector, different nationality. That is based on Venus in a man's horoscope. That is based on Mars in a female horoscope. Clear? Right. 2nd house is financial position. He will have problem in the finance. The native, he or she, will have family problems in the family, problems in financial part, except when Venus is free, when Venus in 4th house, he will have problems otherwise. If there is Venus in the 4th house, or Venus aspecting the 2nd house, or Venus and Saturn to take together in the 2nd house, financial problem will not be there. Clear? So, Saturn in the 3rd house. Saturn in the 3rd house is nothing but traveling, loss, communication, everything. When Saturn sits in the 2nd house, this person, the native, will talk very roughly, slang language. Remember that. And here, this is also communication. When Saturn sits in the 3rd house from Jupiter, he will give the native long distance travels. Okay. Travels to long distance, foreign travels will be a lot. He will be a traveler, he or she, in common. And the 3rd house Saturn, 3rd house from Jupiter, if Saturn is there, or if Saturn is placed in the 3rd house from Jupiter, that man, that native, he or she will be very bold, very daring. Internal energy will be more. They can face anything in life. And sorry to say this also, if at all there is a Mars aspect for that Saturn which is in the 3rd house, or a Saturn aspect for Mars in the 3rd house. I have already finished Mars. You may recollect it, or you may go through the video once again. It will give criminal tendencies, not for all. For people which is having a benefic aspect, it will escape. Otherwise, they will have to either put their hands onto somebody's objects. It may be mobile, it may be something, it may be something. They will just click. That nature will be there in them. I have seen. I don't know how far you people are going to see, but this is what I have noticed. I have checked even robbers, thieves, charts also. I got this combination. And sometimes they bring danger to the friends also. Not with their knowledge, not willfully. Unknowingly things will happen in such a way. Let us forget about that. Bad things we'll forget. So 3rd house, it will give long distance travels. They are travelers, he or she, and they will have a lot of inner strength. And their profession also. It may be regarding communication, or it may be regarding something pertaining to traveling. This is what it is. 3rd house. Saturn in the 4th house. When Saturn sits in the 4th house, kindly remember this again. It is not Karkataka or Rasi I am talking about. I am just naming Saturn in the 4th house from Jupiter. Forget about the sign. Already about the sign and placement of a planet in a sign, it is over. This is only from Jupiter. So when Saturn sits in Cancer. Cancer is nothing but fourth house. I'm sorry. Let me erase it. Not Cancer. When Saturn is there in the fourth house from Jupiter, fourth house is nothing but mother. Fourth house is nothing but the domestic house. Fourth house is nothing but the academic career. So if you take the first thing, mother, she will have a lot of problems. The mother of the native would have suffered a lot in her early stages of her life. He or she, the native may be he, the native may be she, but his mother or her mother would have suffered a lot in her or in her earlyhood stages. If you take it as domestic house, there will be a lot of problems in the house. They will have everything, but unsatisfactory life these people will be leading. The native, he or she, whoever has Saturn in the fourth house from Jupiter, will be having unsatisfactory life. Unless and until some benefic planet aspects the fourth house. Clear? And about education. When Saturn sits in the fourth house from Jupiter, the native's education will be pertaining to the technical only. Hard work, technical. If at all Mars aspects there, it will be skills and technical. Skills pertaining to the hands and technical. Mars aspects the fourth house from Jupiter where Saturn is there. Okay? There will be obstacle in the educational pattern. Disconnect and then joining again and then continuing the studies or something like that. Backups. Okay? So this is about fourth house. Saturn in the fifth house. What all fifth house says? Fifth house, immaterial from Lagna or immaterial from Jupiter, fifth house. It says about the previous Janma's karma. Fifth house not only says about the child. Even the children are born according to the previous Janma karma only. That's the birth of a child. So, when the fifth house says about the previous Janmas, it also says about the child, children. Not only one child, children. If Saturn sits there in the fifth house, it will delay the birth of the child unless and until it is aspected by a benefic planet. And fifth house is also vices, bad habits. So there is a chances of he or she getting into paramours, lovers, boyfriends, girlfriends, gambling, drinking, these things. Okay? Unless and until it is aspected by a benefic. And fifth house is also previous karma, I told you. Saturn is death. Previous death. Some previous death will be pestering these people and keep them unhappy. That's all. Let's go for sixth house. Sixth house from Jupiter. Saturn placed in sixth house from Jupiter. What is sixth house? Open enmity, loans, pets, servants. Okay? When Saturn is placed in the sixth house, first thing Saturn tells us is profession. The gentleman, the native, he or she will not be happy with the profession when sixth house, when Saturn is there in the sixth house. He will not be happy in the profession because he will be having problems with the colleagues. Second thing, servants. Servants will be bossing over the native. Servants will be bossing over the native. Pet. There is a danger seen through pets. A dog may come and bite him or her one day. Not always. These are the incidences which may happen when Saturn sits in the sixth house from Jupiter. Open enmity. Saturn is a powerful planet. And when Saturn sits in the sixth house, open enmity, repusthanam, the native, he or she will have strong, powerful, open enemies. And sixth house is also disease place, repusthanam. When Saturn sits there, whatever diseases this person, this native, he or she will try get into or get, that disease will be elaborate or it will just take time to get cured. Recovery. Okay? So that is about Saturn in the sixth. Now Saturn in the seventh. Seventh, I usually will be telling that seventh is day-to-day income. that you will know when you just go on coming out with the Saturn's qualities. Partners, friends, everything. When Saturn is in the 7th house, because of his friends, the native will have a lot of problems. Because Saturn's friends are malefic. And Saturn is also aspecting Jupiter. So naturally the Jupiter will have a lot of problems in his early stages of life or in his life, in his profession, day-to-day income. This is about Saturn in 7th house. Saturn in 8th. Now here comes a little twist. Saturn in 8th, for a man, for a male native, for a male chart, it gives longevity. Clear? It will give longevity. Purnayusu. Ayush. Purna. Full. Longevity. If at all this Saturn stays in the 8th house, in a female chart, 8th house from Jupiter, it will give troubles to the husband. At that point, we see or we watch the man who is going to marry her should have more longevity. Then this dosha, this particular dosha will be nullified. Clear? This is the twist in Saturn. Saturn in 8th from Jupiter. It is too different for males and females. Saturn in 9th. When Saturn stays in 9th, the native, 9th house is nothing but long distance travel, spiritual, wisdom, honorary awards, all these things. When Saturn stays in the 9th house, the native, he or she, will travel long distances or pilgrimage tours and also may get awards or honors for his or her work, and they will enjoy good life. Okay? And these honors or awards will be from a different land, different state, not in their place of birth. This is about 9. Saturn in 10th. Saturn in 10th house from Jupiter, in a male chart or female chart, will give hurdles in the profession. 10th house, first of all, it is a profession. And one more thing I want to remind you all. Don't see just 10th house from Jupiter for profession. There are 3 things you have to notice in profession, for a profession. 1. 10th house from Jupiter. 2. Saturn and 10th house from Saturn. 10th house from Saturn, 10th house from Jupiter, and after Saturn, in the adjacent rasis or signs, what all the planets are there, who is aspecting Saturn, these 3 things will fix a native's profession. It is not blindly they do it. 10th house from Saturn, 7, 8, 9, 10. Definitely people who are sitting here, they will go either to financial industry, people who are having Saturn in this 10th house from Jupiter, if at all it is Capricorn, if at all, they will do profession, they will have profession either in banks or medicine, pertaining to medicine, hospitals, nurse. See, profession is in an hospital, but to know whether they are going to sit as a doctor, or they are going to become a sweeper in a hospital, or they are going to just be a nurse in an hospital, or they will just run a medical store in an hospital, that varies. And that variation can be decoded through these 3 things. What? After Saturn, which are the planets are there? Saturn is aspected by what planets? Clear? Saturn's 10th house. These 3 things will clarify you regarding which exact part of the profession they are going to handle. Education. It may be education department, but there is a clerk in an education department. There is a typist in an education department. There is a person who works on a computer in an educational department. There is a principal, there is a teacher, there is a sportsman, a sports teacher. What exactly are you going to pin at? You can't, nowadays, those days are over when you can say, yes, these people are going to go for educational institutions. Nowadays that will not work. People are so intelligent, they are bringing out exact point of professions. So kindly do something, analyze something and try to learn how you can get into that particular, validation. Okay? Saturn in 10th is over. Saturn in 11th. What is 11th house? 11th house is profession. 11th house is friends. 11th house is friends. 11th house is labhasthanam. Sorry, not profession. So when Saturn sits in the 11th house from Jupiter, immaterial of Rasi, kindly note that Aries is not Lagna. Aries, I have placed Jupiter in Aries. So when Saturn sits in 11th house from Jupiter, this gentleman or this lady, he or she, the native, will have bad friends. People who trouble or who will bring obstacles to the native's life. And when he sits in the 11th house, he will be aspecting Jupiter. So a lot of problems is created by the friends, and because of those problems, this gentleman or this lady has to suffer. And everything will be behind, backstabbing, not in the front. You cannot even know it. And your profits also is utilized by others. If it is a business, your profits. If it is salary, your money. Your labhasthanam is cut. Next, the last. Saturn in 12th house. When Saturn sits in the 12th house is nothing but a foreign place. Research, hidden, enmity, closed enmity, not open enmity, secret enemies. Okay? If at all Saturn sits in the 12th house, and if it is a profession for the native, he or she, he will be doing some research work, or he will be interested in research work. Okay? If it is about enemies, he will have powerful enmity either in profession or at home. So 12th house is about enemies, is about research work, is about secret, loans, undeclared loans. He will not tell in the house. He will have burdens here. This is about Saturn in the 12th house. Bed pleasures. Even bed pleasures will be bad for this person. Sometimes let me not discuss about that. I don't want to scare anybody. So, if you like my videos, give me a thumbs up. Or if you want to stay with my videos or see more of such videos, kindly subscribe. So again, I am going to meet you all for my next planet, that is Rahu, beautiful planet. Rahu and Ketu are the two wonderful planets. So till then, I bid you bye.